Hello everyone and welcome live to 10-4 Broadcasting for tonight's presentation of the NSRA 5-Star Cut Superspeedway Series live here tonight from the iRacing Superspeedway. I'm Mitchell Adams and I'll be joining you in the booth for tonight to catch all this racing action live from what I think is the biggest curveball on the schedule for this series. I know a lot of people would debate me and say Monza, but I think these two tracks both right up there. Of course, Monza opened the season. That track, very difficult to pass, very unconventional, and these drivers never go there. Here at iRacing Superspeedway, you really have the exact opposite. Drivers do come here quite a bit ever since the creation of this track by iRacing. It's 5 and 6 wide action we can expect here from this race. It's not like nothing drivers will ever experience anywhere else. Sean Lattin already out in the chat saying, I'm ready for a great race tonight, and so are we here at 10-4 Broadcasting. We should have a good one in store for us here as you see qualifying just getting started now on this racetrack. Let's take a look and see who all we have out on the racetrack. Here's the number 18 machine of Jimbo Casterline. Out here, Mr. Stay Tuned Sports making a start here in the 5-Star Cut Superspeedway Series. He has one other this season. He did that at, at Monza, where he came home with a 5th place finish. So a top 5 on the season for Jimbo coming into tonight's race, and we'll see if he can have some more success here tonight. We also have the number 34 of Sean Boundy, who has dominated the start of the season as much as you can in a Super Speedway Series league. Boundy has won both 2 races that have started this season off. This is race number 3, and Sean Boundy comes in here undefeated in the 5-Star Cut Superspeedway Series. Going to be looking to go 3 for 3 here tonight, which is difficult in any style of racing, let alone on a super speedway where everyone has just about as good a chance to win as the next car beside them. We also have the 32 of Daniel Half out on the racetrack. Half comes into tonight's 2nd place in points, right behind Boundy, only 8 points back. So Half, with a good run tonight, is within striking range of your points leader, Sean Boundy. Those are the only 3 cars out on the track at the moment. We'll keep our eye out here as, again, we are rolling in through qualifying, waiting for those lap times to come in. Let's see if I can't get a little more sound from these cars for you all here. Playing with things. I know last week things kind of got rushed together in terms of the overlays, but I had a little more time to sit down today, and so we do have all the gadgets and gizmos I have at my disposal here available for us tonight, which should make for quite the exciting race to watch here. Daniel Half gonna put in a lap time over 1 minute. Of course, I guess that's not very surprising. This is a massive, massive racetrack here. I don't know exact number off the top of my head. I could go check that here. More lap times piling in, but it's Daniel Half holding that fastest time on the board. Jim Casterline currently sits in 2nd. Sean Boundy is running in 3rd. Of course, all these drivers still with 1 more lap to put in. We'll see what the improvement is on their lap times here. Of course, you will see qualifying order as it comes up at the very top of your screen. 7 drivers in session here tonight, but that's more than enough to put on a show at iRacing Superspeedway, so I am very much looking forward to it. Daniel Half puts in another lap. That one going to be slower than the first. That one really surprises me. Usually expect to see a 2nd lap pickup, which Jim Casterline just did there in that 18. Still not good enough to go to the pole. Sean Boundy also picked up on lap number 2, but not good enough either for driver of the number 34. So your pole sitter will remain Daniel Half, and no one else yet going out on the racetrack, which just really surprised me. I would expect to see people want to get up toward the front, get some of that track position. That usually can be pretty important here at these things because you don't want to be behind the wreck when it happens. Do a little research here on iRacing Superspeedway. Let's see how quickly broadcaster Mitchell can navigate the new iRacing UI. I say new. It's not really that new. But I still haven't gotten used to iRacing's new UI. I don't know if any of our other drivers out there in chat have the same issues with it I do, but I'm still getting used to it. I don't know where everything is. And if you are out there in the chat, please let us know you're watching. I'm sitting here alone in the booth tonight, so I would love some company out there in the chat. Let me know who you're rooting for, who you're tuning in for here tonight. I believe we have 45 laps of racing here at iRacing Superspeedway. And it's still showing 5 minutes left in qualifying. I'm curious to see if they go the 5 minutes or if we're going to cut that time short here, because it doesn't appear anybody else going out for qualifying. So we could get racing right underway here at iRacing Superspeedway. That'd be kind of nice, you know. Of course, 45 laps of racing action here tonight is in store for us on 10-4 Broadcasting. Again, glad you all are tuning in to watch it. We've had Sean Latin out in the chat. If anybody else is out there watching, again, let us know. We have another driver out on the track. This is going to be the defending series champion, I believe, unless the number 3 has changed hands. It has not. This is Jason Shu, defending 5-Star Cut Superspeedway Series champion. He is going out to take a qualifying run here with 4 minutes left in the qualifying session. We'll see what kind of time the defending series champ can put down here. Jason Shu currently sits in a tie for 5th place in the point standings. That is a 3-way tie for 5th place in points for your defending series champion. So he's going to come in here tonight looking to be, he's in a tie with Adam Schramm and Josh Ball. So he'll be looking to gain some points on those drivers here tonight if he can. We'll see again what kind of time Jason can put in here when we go green. Of course, that is about 4 to 5 minutes away, depending on how fast the pace car chooses to lead them around the racetrack. And Jason is taking his first green flag lap in qualifying now, so we'll see what he has in him here. And for those of you who were making your guesses how long it would take me to find where to find track information on iRacing's new UI, it took about this long. This is a 3-mile racetrack here at iRacing Superspeedway, so gonna be biggest track we go to all season long, about quarter-mile bigger than Talladega, which would be, I believe, the 2nd biggest track. I don't know how long Monza is, so while I figure out, just for laughs and giggles, I guess, how long Monza is, Jason Shu coming out of turn 4 to put in his first time lap, and we will see what kind of lap time that is for defending 5-Star Cut Superspeedway Series champion. That'll put him in 4th to start. Again, not surprising, because the 2nd lap is the one we really look for here for a lap time. So this one right here that Jason Shu is on is going to be, I guess, the money lap, we could call it. You see him leaving a lot of room down to that yellow line, though. I noticed in practice the drivers seem to have some issue with the car dragging, that front splitter dragging on the racetrack through the corners. I almost wonder if Jason Shu's staying at the track, maybe because of that. Maybe he feels like it's slightly better when you stay up off that yellow line. Of course, I say that, he goes much closer down, but there is still a good, I'd say, half car length-ish, a little less there, down to that yellow line. Of course, trying to carry as much speed as he can here, and coming to the line to complete his 2nd lap of qualifying. We'll see what Jason Shu has in him here. That lap is going to be a 1 minute .843. That'll put him 3rd on the speed charts, knocking Jim Casterline down to 4th. With about a minute left in qualifying, that looks like all the drivers we are going to have take time. So 4 of the 7 have elected to make a qualifying run. Of course, that is not everybody in the field. We do have 3 other drivers here who are going to wait till race time to show us what kind of speed they have in those machines. Now, I'm looking forward to it here. Like I said, I think this is probably the most entertaining race track to watch we have on the schedule here. So mark your calendars anytime you see iRacing Superspeedway coming up. This track always puts on a show for us here. And that I expect exactly the same here tonight. I'll see. I finally found where iRacing puts the tracks in, but then I forgot that the official name of Monza on iRacing is, and this is my best Italian for you, Autodromo Nazionale Monza. So you got to look in the A's, not the M's, to find Monza. This is the longest track on the schedule. Monza, 2.6 miles. This is almost a half mile longer. And there you see drivers gridding up here for the start of the race. And we are going to go through the starting order here tonight for race number 3 of the 5-Star Cuts Superspeedway Series season at Monza. On the pole, it's going to be Daniel Half in the 32 machine. Then it's the 34 of Sean Boundy rolling off in second. Again, Boundy's won both races so far this season. Then it's defending series champ Jason Shu rolling off from third. It's the 3 rolling off from third.
Go, that was embarrassing.
Ooh, hold on just a moment, folks. It's just you get to see all the behind the scenes stuff. Bam. I did not know chat was unmuted. I don't know when that would have gotten unmuted, but we don't want to listen to driver chat here tonight on the broadcast. That is my bad. I apologize for that. As we were starting in 4th place is Jim Casterline, and then of the drivers who did not take a qualifying lap, Martin Plute in the number 4 will roll off in the 5th position. The 54 of Matt Cherry going to start in 6th. And in 7th, rounding out the 7-car field, is Adam Schramm. Again, Schramm, another one of those drivers here in that 3-way tie for 5th. Josh Ball not here, so that should become at least well, no, that tie would get settled out here after tonight's race. We just saw the news in real life NASCAR. Napa signed on for a couple more seasons, I think, on board Chase Elliott. So we're going to see a lot more Napa schemes for a long time, probably here as well in the sim, which is not a bad thing here. I like the Napa colors. Usually they make for good-looking cars, and of course the 9 of Adam Schramm certainly is one of those. Pace car lights off, and we are coming out of turn 4. So we are going to get this race underway here from iRacing Superspeedway. Again, glad you all are tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button if you enjoy the race. Green flag in the air, and it is going to be the 32 of Daniel Half leading him to green. Good start for Boundy up top. No help for driver of the 34 machine, and that should only help. That 32 on the inside, you see him nose in front through turns 1 and 2, but you see that outside lane starting to form up a little bit, at least between the 34 and the number 4 of Martin Plute. That is Sean Boundy and Martin Plute trying to get the high line going, and they are, in fact, going to get that high line going, and you see them get well clear of the leaders. I believe they also dragged the 54 of Matt Cherry along with them. Yes, they did. Matt Cherry drives one of those Stay Tuned sports machines on the racetrack, on board with him for a brief second here. Matt Cherry is a driver we always look for here. Very aggressive on the speedways, but knows how to get into victory lane, and you see Boundy get shuffled out now by the outside lane here. And oh, Jason Shu thought about going up in front of him. Not going to be able to do that. Lap 1 in the books here. And it's going to be led by the 4 of Martin Plute, who's out to a pretty commanding lead. A lot of space between him and Cherry, which is something you don't want to see if you're these drivers out on the racetrack. And here comes Jim Casterline had a pretty big run, but he is going to stay settled in line. The 32 machine, though, is not. That's Daniel Half pulling to the outside lane now. No help for Half, though, as the cars behind him, Jason Shue, Jason Shue and Sean Bounty there were side by side. That'll single file out the field, but I don't expect it to stay that way long here. These drivers in the 5-Star Cut Superspeedway series love to race hard, and they race very cleanly too. Very aggressive, very clean is usually what we get treated to here. So again, these 45 laps should get interesting. And once again, we see the outside lane starting to form up as well. Oh, the contact! His car around Martin Plute with a ton of damage. The bumper falling off of the number 4, and that's going to put us under caution for the first time tonight. Let's go back and take a look at what exactly caused that one here, because that is big damage for Martin Plute, who was in fact leading the race here right before that incident. On the 10-4 broadcasting replay, you get a look into turn 1. Matt Cherry, it's just pushing Martin Plute through the corner, and it got the 4 loose, just hooked him into the wall, basically, is what happened there. We'll get another look at that one from on board the 54 of Cherry, but like you're just going to see here, on board with Plute down the down the front stretch into the corner. I don't even know that he was trying to bump him. He was just running so close to the 4 that there was contact made, and around Martin Plute goes. Massive damage on that race car, and that's not what you want to see early in this race, especially for the driver who was leading here, Martin Plute. He's now, I believe, having to take a tow, sitting in pit road. So this day went from good to bad really quick for Martin Plute, so he's going to struggle to get back into this one. Out at the front of the field now is going to be, it looks like Matt Cherry here is going to be your race leader after this one. So I'm a little confused. Scoring right now has the 32 of Half, was leading at the line, but it looks like, in fact, he was third. We always assume what we see at the top is correct, because my scoring doesn't update until they hit the start-finish line, which would be very nice. It does not do that. So Matt Cherry, little contact there, brings out the first caution, but he is your race leader over the 18 of Jim Casterline. Then it's the 32 machine, yes, 32 there of Daniel Half, and it looks like Cherry headed down pit road. We'll see if we have any more takers here. We are going to, in fact, have a lot of takers down pit road. I believe the only car who did not come down was the 18 of Jim Casterline. He'll be the lone driver to stay out on the racetrack under this caution, so we'll see how that works out for the 18. Again, was running second. And see the rest of the field heading down pit road here, getting jacked up by the pit crews. Looks like getting 4 tires on these cars. I know we don't always see tires taken on pit stops. Usually under caution, though, drivers like to put 4 fresh Goodyear tires on those race cars just for good measure, to make sure you have that grip when you need to be pushing someone or when you need to step out of line. Of course, Jim Casterline here in the 18, the only one, again, to stay out under this caution. Let's actually see if we can dial up driver of the 18 here under this caution. As Jim Casterline, Mitchell Adams in the 10-4 broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Not much. I'm just chilling up here in the broadcast booth, and I see you're the only car here not coming down pit road. What's the strategy here for you? Is it track position you're trying to get?
Yeah, figured come up here. I'm not used to doing the restarts, so give it a go there. I usually follow everybody else that comes down, so maybe switch it up and see if that helps me out a little bit better.
Yeah, and we got a couple laps green flag there, but from the little we've raced here in the actual race. How do you feel about the cars here tonight? Do you think you got good control over that number 18?
Yeah, as long as I don't hit the apron. I think it was like the first lap. I clipped a little bit, got a little squirrely there, but as long as I stay off of there, I'll be okay.
Well, that's certainly the hope. I see pace car lights off, so I'll go ahead and let you go. Thanks for dropping by here really quickly under caution.
Yeah, anytime, bud.
That was Jim Casterline here, driver of the 18. He'll be leading when we go back green. And again, we had more drivers come down and re-top off on fuel here before we go back green. Of course, still see... Oh, no, Martin Plute is back out on the track. Remember, these drivers do have one faster pair, I believe, here. So, Martin Plute going to use his here. So, he's going to be, I believe, the only one without. I don't think Matt Cherry, it looked like, took one. I don't think there was significant damage on the 54. I think he did get up into the wall slightly. Maybe, I'm not quite sure, but the 54 looks relatively clean here. But again, about to go back green flag racing. It's going to be Jim Casterline leading the field to green over the 32 of Daniel Half. You see there in second. The rest of the drivers here working to catch up because they all came and stopped for extra fuel. I know it's very early in the race. Be curious to see if that doesn't play into the strategy later or give them some kind of fuel advantage in going into the last pit stop. But we're a ways away from that. It's time to go back green flag racing here. Lap number 7 of 54, or excuse me, 45 from iRacing Superspeedway, the National Sim Racing Association 5-Star Cut Superspeedway Series. Jim Casterline leads them to green here, waiting for him to hit the loud pedal. There they go, green flag in the air. We are back racing here from iRacing Superspeedway, and it was a good start for both lines here. That inside lane really formed up, except for I think it's the 3 of Jason Shue. Jumped out of line briefly, settles back in though. It's a good start for Jim Casterline there on the inside. See everybody really starting to settle down into the inside lane. You've got Martin Plute going back up into the outside. Jim Casterline goes up to block. Gonna get the push from Martin, but the 34 of Bounty gonna get around him here and take the race lead into 3. So put the 2-time winner this season up into the race lead. He's bringing the 9 of Adam Schramm right behind him here. Coming to complete the first lap since the restart, it is going to be Bounty leading this lap. You see Jason Shue going all the way to that yellow line, trying to find some speed here, and we got a 3-car group starting to form up in the outside lane. I think we could throw Jim Casterline here into this as well. He went from the lead, now running in the back of the pack, but right now he's in a safe position, not too risky here, giving the field a little bit of room. And again, you see Martin Plute, who was just involved in that first caution, heavy damage, but because of a fast repair, able to get back out and now challenge for the race lead in this outside lane with one extra car. That should give them an advantage over the inside, and you see them get well clear of Adam Bounty. Sean Bounty, excuse me. I knew I got something wrong there. In front of Sean Bounty there into 3. Still learning some of these names. It's only my second race of the season up in the booth, so it will get better. I said that last week. I feel like I'm already better. I'm starting to recognize paint schemes, which is, you know, what you want your broadcaster to be able to do. Single file now led by Martin Plute into turn number 1. He's got the whole field following him in line here. The front 4 seem to have a little bit of a breakaway here. That's all the way back to the 32 of Daniel Half. You have to look. Got a slight gap, does Half, up to the 9. That could allow him to slingshot, though, if he wants to. It doesn't look like he is, and he doesn't really have help from Jason Shue either. Shue's a little bit too far back, and then Jim Casterline trying to hang on to this draft. He might almost be a little bit far back of this pack. I'm starting to worry about driver of the 18. On what I did forget, and you do have to remember, I just forgot about this, so I'm can be easily as fooled, is that Martin Plute here in the 4 is a lap down, actually. He wasn't when he had the lead, but now he is 1 lap down. So the race leader, well, now it is the 34, but it was not Martin Plute. It was actually Matt Cherry in the 54 who was running second behind Plute. He was actually leading the race because Martin Plute is 1 lap down because of having to tow. So that is something we're going to have to keep in mind. Either Martin Plute going to need another caution flag here. Jason Shu jumps out of line. Martin Plute follows him up there into the outside lane, taking it 3 wide as Plute shuffled out Shu. I don't know if Jason actually wanted to make a run or if he just wanted to get to the back of this pack, but Jim Casterline has lost the draft here in this number 18, so he also gonna need a caution if he wants to get back up into contention for this race. Meanwhile, out front, it's still single file all the way through. The 3 starting to hang back a little bit as well. One thing these drivers are going to have to be careful of is the fact I mentioned. I feel like the front end of these cars or something is scraping the racetrack through the corners. You can kind of hear it. In fact, let's go on board with race leader Sean Bounty. We will take a listen through the corner, and you're going to maybe hear that car kind of start to scrape against the racetrack. That very unpleasant sound, I assume you could hear, because I could hear as well. I don't always know how well things go over on the broadcast sound-wise. That is the sound of the car physically scraping the racetrack. And that really bogs these cars down. The suspension just not raised quite enough. Or when they get going at these speeds and you get behind other cars, that can start to push that nose down. Or in the case of Sean Bounty, he's not getting that nose pushed down by having a car in front of him. So I feel like that's just something these drivers have to deal with. And that's what I'm worried about when you look back at Jason Chu, which kind of got me started on this. You have to stay closer to that car in front of you when that is happening in order to keep the draft. Oh, the 9. The 9 of Adam Schramm. What a save by that driver through 3. Let's take a look back at that one. Let's go on board here with the 9. I think he did what Jim Casterline was saying he was just trying not to do, and that's clip the apron. You see him get it there. Gets up the track. Able to save it, though. Great save by Adam Schramm in the 9, and we stay green here. Unfortunately for him, though, I think that might have cost him the draft. You don't see anybody well out in front of him. That's because he is almost 3 seconds behind the pack, and you see it there. Adam Schramm going to lose the draft as well, and Jimbo Casterline just headed into 1. That's how important the draft is. Already 15 seconds behind the pack, and it's been about 7 laps since we went green. Probably about 5 since he lost the draft, if memory serves. Looking back up at the leaders now, a 5-car race for the lead. Well, I guess 4 cars and Martin Plute 1 lap down race for the race lead. It is the 34 of Sean Bounty, the driver looking to remain perfect on the season, once again leading this race. He's got the 32 of Daniel Half right behind him. These two, from what I'm seeing here in Discord channels, they look like teammates, as well as the 9 of Adam Schramm at Rebel Racing. So you have to imagine if they're teammates, they are working together here. I guess if we are talking about teammates, you have another pair of teammates here in Martin Plute and Matt Cherry's Stay Tuned Sports, or at least they're hanging out in the Stay Tuned Sports voice channel. So you have to think, oh, contact, the 32 goes up into the wall. Somebody else went with him. We stay green for now. There's the caution finally going to come out. We're going to take a look back at that one. because that wrecked your race, not your race leader. Second place and third place get caught up here in this one. Let's look at it here. You see Bounty hits the apron, gets loose. Unfortunately, though, he had a Jason Shoe right behind him. And unfortunately for Shoe, just wrong place, wrong time. Absolutely nowhere Jason could have gone in that one to get around it. It's kind of what Jimbo said. As soon as you hit that apron, it's so difficult to save the car. And I don't know that the 32 was going to be able to save it anyways. On board with Jason Shoe. You see the 32 lose it. I don't know that he ever really let off the gas either to try and miss it, but either way, massive damage to the number 3 and 32. Both those cars really torn up here. Both of them having to take a tow back down to pit road, so they're going to lose laps as well. Someone who's not going to lose out in that one, though, is Martin Plute, who I do believe will be getting a Lucky Dog here. Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award. I do believe it is here as well in the 5-Star Cut Super Speedway Series. Matt Cherry trying to show us where the wall is. Got a little piece of it there, trying to scrape the rubber off those tires. And again, we'll look down pit road here. Looks like everybody gonna come this time. And you want to talk about other breaks under caution. That saved Jim Casterline in the 18. He was losing seconds a lap, well out of the draft. That's going to bring him right back up into the lead pack. Same with the 9 of Adam Schramm. That saved his race right there, but unfortunately it is going to come at the expense of Daniel Half and Jason Shoe. You see all those leaders now coming into pit road. I do believe everyone is down pit road right now. Let's see if we can dial up here. Who we want to dial up? Chat. Let's talk to Jason Shoe in the number 3. I know he was just involved in that incident. We'll get his word on what just kind of went down. Jason Shoe, Mitchell Adams in the 10-4 broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I know it's probably not how you wanted to be talking to me, but just kind of take us through your perspective there. It didn't look like there was much you could do to avoid that one.
Not really. It just happened quick. I seen him get down the apron. I was going to try to go on the outside, but he snuck up, and we got together, and that was it.
Yeah, and I interviewed Jim Casterline under the first caution. I pulled him up here, and he said once you hit that apron, it's really hard to save that race car, and I think that's kind of what we saw play into that one a little bit as well. But how tricky are these cars to drive here, and are you able to wheel it like you want to, or are you kind of struggling this thing around the racetrack?
They definitely do drive different, especially coming off the corner. They like to bottom out and get sideways.
Well, I've kind of heard, I pointed out to our viewers too, I thought I heard the cars bottoming out in practice and a little bit in the race too. Is that something you all are dealing with here?
It's not too bad, but especially since I got in the draft, it really, you really notice it more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, best of luck to you. I see you back out on the track now. I assume you took your fast repair. I think might have to race back onto the lead lap, but I know you come in here looking for a good run. You're in a tie for 5th right now in points, so been a good start to the season. But how are you feeling about iRacing Super Speedway? Is this a track you like and think you could grab some points at?
It's not a bad track. It's just you gotta be at the right place at the right time. There's a lot of action happens here quick.
Yeah, well, I'm going to let you go because I know you're trying to get caught back up, and you guys will probably be going back green soon. Thanks for talking to me, Jason. And again, good luck through the rest of the race. Maybe I'll get to talk to you a little later on.
Okay, well, thanks then.
That was Jason Shoe, just involved in that last wreck, but you see him there back out onto the track, and they are about to get ready to go green. Going back green, it looks like it's going to be the 18 of Jim Casterline once again leading him to green here. So Jim's done a good job getting to the lead under these cautions. This time he did come down pit road and come out the leader, and then it's Sean Boundy in the 32. Actually, the way they're lined up, I wouldn't be surprised if more drivers once again came down, re-topped off on fuel. Because you see only the front two side by side, the same front two on the last restart as well. Coincidence? I don't really think so. Green flag back in the air here at iRacing Superspeedway, and it's a great start in the high line for the 32 of Daniel Half. He is, I believe, one lap down, though, actually. I think. Yes, he is. Daniel Half, well, technically speaking, he is on the lead lap right now because he is leading the race, as is Jason Shu running in second. The first car on the lead lap is, Jim Casterline. They're bumping doors. The 9 of Adam Schramm gets into the wall. I know there were a lot of other cars and that would happen so quickly here, and we're going to take a look back at it down the back straight away because that incident happened really quick. I think it started up around the 18 of Jim Casterline. Second car there in the inside. You saw the Jason Shu kind of pull back down into the inside lane, and I think it checked up the inside, just kind of led to a chain reaction, and Shu with heavy damage on that race car. A lot of others involved in that one too. The 9 of Adam Schramm, I believe the 34 Adam Boundy got caught. Sean Boundy, I did it again, got caught up in that one. And again, you see it, just a little push from Cherry. Didn't really know they were getting checked up, got into Jim Casterline, just kind of around they go. You see the 9 of Schramm, heavy damage there. I believe the 34, yeah, you see him get a little piece of the infield wall there too. Actually, looks like has a right front tire might have come off that race car, had to take a tow. And just like that, the driver who's won the first 2 races of the season, he is not looking so good here in tonight's race. We'll just have to wait and see what he can do here as we go on. Looking back live on the racetrack, it is Jim Casterline being scored your race leader right now over Matt Cherry in the 54. So the 2 drivers where that incident really started, they're going to come out 1-2. Of course, that's what we like to call a racing incident. That's just the kind of incident we see at these speedways where Jason Shu had to come down because he had the hole. It was barely there, and the 18 had to check up to not get into the back of the 3. And just the 54 can't see that coming. One thing leads to another. There's a lot of torn up race cars. Again, the 9 of Schramm has massive damage. I don't actually see him on the racetrack right now. I do see him actually, I believe. Yeah, there he is right there. I thought that's who that was. It was saying for a second he wasn't. Scoring's not always right though. Jim Casterline taking tires here. I don't think everyone took tires here on this pit stop. You see Martin Plute already well off the racetrack. Matt Cherry going to win the race off of pit road here, though. Cherry, driver of the 54, the Stay Tuned Sports Machine, veteran of the National Sim Racing Association, been around here for a long time. We'll pay attention again under this caution for if any drivers come back down pit road and top off on fuel. You see Jason Shu and Sean Boundy, both of them still down pit road getting repairs. Actually, they're both rolling off pit road now, so those tows complete. Both of them going to be a lap down, though. I think Jason Shu might have gotten the lap back at the time of the caution. I know he was kind of involved in that one, but scoring says he's only 1 lap down right now. Of course, it just kind of depends at this point on the fast repair situation. I know Jason Chu, I'm assuming he took one here because it looks pretty clean, but you are going to start to have drivers. We've had 3 cautions. I believe 3 cautions. That sounds right. We've had 3 cautions, and a lot of drivers have had to come take fast repairs. No, the 9 of Adam Schramm, I would assume, certainly just took it if he had it. The 4 of Martin Plute doesn't have a fast repair right now. A lot of drivers here have had to use them because we've had some big incidents. That, I think, certainly the biggest wreck of the night so far. Actually, Jason Chu might have saved a fast repair because he did get heavy damage in the last wreck as well. I'm trying to see the nose of that 3. He looks pretty clean there. I haven't watched the next gen cars a ton, but that looks like a clean race car from where I'm sitting up in the broadcast booth. Of course, that's a ways away from the racetrack, but we'll see. If I am guessing correct, pace car lights, they are in fact off, and so we are going to go back green here, this time almost to the halfway point here, about a lap away from it. Matt Cherry right now gonna be leading when we go back green over Martin Plute in the number 4. Then it's the 9 Adam Schramm, 18 Jim Casterline, 32 Daniel Half, 34 Sean Boundy, and 3 of Jason Chu round out your 7 car field. Everybody still racing here at the halfway point, which is something we love to see. Very rare here in Superspeedway racing. Usually someone gets taken out multiple times. That is not the case here tonight, or at least not the case to where they have terminal damage. Jason Chu, I know, has been involved in multiple incidents here. Pace car down pit road, waiting on the flagman to wave it. There it is, green flag back in the air here, and Martin Plute gets a good start again on the outside lane. We've seen the outside lane get quite a few good starts here in tonight's race, but you see Plute just no help there to take advantage of that good start, and Matt Cherry in the 54 getting pushed by Adam Schramm in the 9, gonna get clear for the race lead. Oh, and he's gonna move up to the high line. A little surprised by that move from Matt Cherry. You almost would have thought he would have stayed with the 9 of Schramm. They had the momentum in the inside lane, but maybe he saw something in the outside. The spotter in his ear said, hey, that outside lane getting formed up. But the 34 of Boundy moves back to the inside lane, and that gives them a 1-car advantage over the outside. Of course, now Boundy in the 34 and Chu in the 3. Both those drivers will be racing from 1 lap down, so I expect big moves from Jason Chu and Adam Boundy. I'd say Sean Boundy. I don't know how many times I'm going to do that tonight. I'm very sorry, Sean. I don't know how many... no, that's what that was not the thought I was just on. I was going to say I expect big moves from the driver who's won 2 races this season. Of course, this is a Rebel Racing 1, 2, 6, but 3 on track. Kind of calling it as it is on the racetrack. I guess 4 now. The 34, of course, again, 1 lap down. But teammates 1, 2, 3 starting to pull out from the rest of the field. They're not very organized back there, and that could create some issues. Oh, Martin Plute was pushing Cherry through the corner. Almost turned the 54 around, but he keeps it going straight. And something I know leagues usually frown upon is pushing in the corners, just because it's a little more hazardous here, especially at a track like iRacing Superspeedway. What a move from Martin Plute. Still thinking about going around Matt Cherry. I was going to say, the banking is just so high here at iRacing Superspeedway that it just becomes more and more treacherous when you push in the corner. It's just more likely to spin that car in front of you around, and you know, we see it not cause an incident there, but if memory serves right, the first caution I believe was Cherry pushing Plute in the corner, and that resulted in Plute going around, so that just shows kind of the danger in it finally these back 4 cars getting a little bit organized as the field blows by the Gopher cam. It's one of my favorite shots here. And the production truck, I beg them to use it more. But as I was saying, these back 4 cars here, they're starting to get lined up, and they should, if they could work together well enough, start to run down these top 3. But they pulled out almost a 2-second lead while these drivers were sitting there racing unorganized. So these top 3 cars on the racetrack, it's really your top 2 plus their teammate Sean Bounty, who runs the lap down, leading the race. And then a little bit behind them, Jim Casterline leads the field, or the second pack here. And we'll take a look here on the head-to-head, compare the lap times they run around this racetrack. Green number on top means Jim Casterline in the second pack is running down those front 3. Red number on the top means they are losing time to your front 3. That lap, they're going to gain about a 1/10 of a second. And you see Matt Cherry right on the bumper of the 18. That's really going to help them to get speed down these straightaways. And of course, laying off just a little bit through the corner to give the 18 room to make it through the turn. And then right on the bumper once again is the Stay Tuned sports machine of Matt Cherry. That's some of that veteran driving, knowing how to push a car around this racetrack. It's helping them close up a lot of time right now on your race leaders. But Cherry pulls out of line, maybe getting hot in the 54. He's been pushing Jim Casterline, also in the Stay Tuned sports machine, very hard there. Turn him over to Martin Plute. But you see these leaders up here, you can kind of see them out of the corner of your eye. They are pushing a lot less hard than are those cars in that second pack, as Matt Cherry does a little blinking back there. You see actually the Bounty not even attached to the front 2. It's a 2-car tandem, but see the space in between those 2 cars? And then you look back at Jim Casterline and Martin Plute, much more tight through the corner and down the straightaway than those cars up in front are. That's what will gain them time. But take a look back again. They've closed the gap up a little bit down the straightaway, but still leaving a lot of space versus these cars back here. And you can see how much closer they're getting. I would call them caught up at this point, except for Jason Shue. He's lagging back a little bit, but these 3 cars have caught the leaders, and they're going to look into the outside lane, try to take that momentum to push them forward. And once you get in the draft of those cars up front, that just sucks you right up to them. That happens at about a second back. You see how quickly they went from 1.5 back all the way up to battling for the race lead. The 18, all kinds of all over the place, down the back straightaway. That kind of killed the momentum that outside lane had built up. The 34 Bounty now goes up with them. Sean Bounty in the 34. 4 cars against 2, but right now Jim Casterline, see him not really making headway on those 2 leaders. You could almost, if you're that inside lane, duck down, build momentum, back up again, and then go race them, because you see they're not super bumper to bumper, but they're doing a great job just using the air. You don't have to be right on the back bumper of that car in front to get a push. You can kind of push the air off your nose into that car's bumper, but usually more efficient pushing to get right up on that bumper. Of course, I've been told by people who've raced these cars, I did once right here on 10-4 Broadcasting, but other than that, I don't have much next-gen experience myself. But in my race, and I've heard this from other people too, is that it's just really difficult to drive up to that bumper of the car in front of you and actually break that bubble and get to the bumper, which can be a challenge. But you saw that second pack, Martin Plute, Matt Cherry do that very well. That's going to get Jim Casterline up to the race lead as the field comes to take lap 30. 16 to go here at iRacing Superspeedway in the National Sim Racing Association 5-Star Cuts Superspeedway Series. Martin Clute, Matt Cherry going to follow along with them as well. Then it's Adam Schramm in the 9, dropping all the way back to 4th. Just like that, it's the Rebel Racing teammates now 4th through 6th in this pack. And I talked about being worried for him. Unfortunately, Jason Shu, the defending champ, has lost the draft here. Gonna need a caution if he wants to get back up with this lead group here, led by Jim Casterline, Mr. Stay Tuned Sports. Stay Tuned Sports on the hood. Of course, if you haven't checked out the Stay Tuned Sports podcast, I highly recommend you do so. They sponsor the NSRA Friday night Stay Tuned Sports podcast truck series here, and it's a good show. I've never been a huge podcast guy. I've listened to Stay Tuned Sports, though. It's a pretty good show, so make sure to go check them out wherever you get your podcasts and check their socials out as well. Of course, the Stay Tuned Sports drivers, I'm assuming they're a team here. I don't actually know that for a fact, but they're all in Stay Tuned Sports voice chat, so I think we have 3 teammates here running 1, 2, 3 on the racetrack. Martin Clute, go back to earlier in the race. He was 1 lap down, has done a great job getting himself back up on the lead lap and in contention through the cautions. Did it pretty quickly, actually, did Martin Clute. Now you see them really stretching a gap over Adam Schramm in the 9. They're pulling a lot of time. Gonna look at the head-to-head once again. See what it is this last time by. They're gonna lose a lot of time, it looks like, to this front pack. Yeah, they do. They lost a significant amount of time. 4/10 of a second. No, I'm wrong. 1.5 seconds. That's a massive loss in just 1 lap. I might have missed it. Maybe someone hit that apron, got loose or something to prompt them losing all that time. Or it's a little bit of strategy, because looky here, they did what I was talking about earlier. They got in that hole that's punched in the air by those cars. They got in the draft, trying to use that momentum to get themselves up toward the front of the field, but kind of got stalled out. Half really got squirrely there behind Schramm into 3, and that's going to stall out all that momentum they'd built up by sitting back and using the draft to suck themselves forward. Now settling back in single file once again. Jim Casterline continues to clock laps led here at the front of the pack, but you can never imagine that's going to last long here in the 5-Star Cut Super Speedway Series. All these drivers really want to win, all of them with super fast cars, fixed setups too, if you're interested in joining the National Sim Racing Association 5-Star Cut Super Speedway Series. Little information. So everyone is driving the same thing, except for some little steering adjustments and brake adjustments they can make. So everyone's car performs about the same here, but usually we just see some drivers able to work the draft better, and those usually what we refer to as the faster cars on the racetrack. And there you see a move coming from Adam Schramm in the 9, his teammates following behind him here, going to the outside lane, trying to work something up. 12 laps to go in this one. Still plenty of time to make it happen. Got right on the door of Matt Cherry, trying to side draft and gonna get shuffled out. The 32 of half goes right around him there up the inside lane. If you're the 9 of Adam Schramm, you probably don't like your teammate ditching you there to go make the pass up the inside lane, but I think the 9 got way up the racetrack. Side draft the 54. Maybe got a little too close for comfort. Here you see Martin Clute now going to drop out of the lead pack. Maybe got a little hot, pushing Jim Casterline. I think I mentioned that earlier. Maybe didn't explain it very well, but when you're in one of these cars and you're sitting behind somebody on the racetrack, like you see up here at the front, the 54 sitting right on the bumper of the 18, there's not a lot of air getting into that engine, and after doing that for a couple laps, that engine starts to overheat. You have to watch, if you're a driver, those oil temps and water temps, because sometimes they can get a little too hot. And if that happens, usually you have to do what Martin Pluke did, even if that wasn't the reason he did it, and pull out of line, get fresh air into that engine to get it cooled off. Now you see a big run coming from the 32 of Half. He is going to take your race lead away from the 18 of Casterline. Those three Stay Tuned sports cars go up into the outside lane again, working together, and it's Rebel Racing now, 1, 2, 3 on the racetrack. Of course, Sean Bounty still one lap down right now. Personally, if I were the 34 of Bounty and I'm here drafting with two other teammates of mine, I'd say, hey guys, I'm one lap down. Can you let me go get to the lead? Matt Cherry with a spin, tries to save it. Overcorrects, coming to a stop down on the apron. Will that bring out a caution? Oh, is the 54 stuck on the racetrack? Can he get it moving? Maybe. I don't think so. I think the 54 stuck and we stay green. Man, Matt Cherry's ran such a great race today. You saw him pushed up at the front. Now the caution comes out as the 54 still trying to get it rolling. I think at this point, though, he better take that tow, save himself the time, because he's going to have to wait for a tow. You're not going to get it off the track there, Matt, if you're spinning the rear wheels like that. But that is going to put us back under caution here for the fourth or fifth time tonight. Look at that pace car come flying down the racetrack. In the field now coming through, Cherry still, I mean, A+ for trying all. I think he's going to get Martin Pluke to help him get it rolling. Already one lap down, though. Let's see this. At this point, you gotta almost back out if you're Matt Cherry. There you go. I'm gonna say that the racetrack's just too steep. You're not gonna be able to climb back up that hill, but you can back out. Great teamwork there between the 54 and the 4. Gets Matt Cherry rolling again, but he is gonna be one lap down now unless iRacing is gonna score him up on the lead lap. And right before that caution, we did see the three teammates, Daniel Half, Adam Schramm, and the 34 of Sean Bounty, get up to the race lead. Bounty going to pick up a lucky dog here under this caution. And I believe Jason Shu, he may need to pit for fuel, not quite sure, but he could take a wave around, given a couple cars in front of him. Don't pit. All your leaders came down in the lead pack. I believe everyone else behind them going to as well, which means Jason Shu will be able to get a lucky dog. Not a lucky dog, excuse me. He will get the wave around, though, and be able to get back on the lead lap. Which, again, I've said, depending on Matt Cherry's situation here in the 54 and the way iRacing is going to decide to score him, he might be the only car one lap down after this caution, unless for some reason he gets back on the lead lap, which I don't think he should. But sometimes iRacing scoring can be a little finicky. But I think it'll make him stay one lap down here, even though he was not at the time of the caution. Leading this race when we go back, green flag racing, is going to be the 32 of Daniel Half. He won the race off of pit road. And it's been a great performance by Daniel Half in the 32. You've seen here later in the race, teammates start to work together more and more. And I think that's been really beneficial for Daniel Half. You see the 9 of Adam Schramm, too. Remember, earlier in the race, he had lost the draft got back up here with a caution. He's made the most of it, running second right now to his teammate in half. And you have to imagine they'll work together here for a while, but eventually you always kind of have to break it with the teammate, or usually, unless you're a super good teammate, better than I think I have been here at iRacing Superspeedway in the past. Usually you're going to break that push with a teammate, but you might not do it until the very last lap. You have to really time that move out well, but everyone here wants to win a race, so it's just kind of the question of how long are drivers going to be willing to work with teammates. And again, if you're out in the chat, don't forget to chime in. Let us know who you think is going to win the race. I recently had a commentator's curse experience. I will not be making picks here in this race tonight. But if you were out in the chat, there is no such thing as the chat curse. It doesn't sound as good as commentator's curse, so it's okay. Who do you think's going to pick up tonight's race? Let us know. And yeah, don't forget to hit that like button if you've enjoyed the stream here tonight. And if you want to subscribe and watch more races, feel free. But definitely go check out more of the things we have going on 10-4 Broadcasting. I think we have another series going right now. I'm kind of out of the loop about some things, but I believe also we have Rev Racing going right now. They might not be quite done yet either, but of course right now, coming to 5 laps to go, this is the place you're going to want to be, is right here in my stream for the National Sim Racing Association 5-Star Cut Super Speedway Series. This is when things are about to get really good here. We're going to come to 6 laps to go when they restart, so not a lot of time. Drivers going to have to get really aggressive, and that should make a good show for us here. Daniel Half gonna lead him to green over teammate Adam Schramm. They didn't play that little teammate game where you let your teammate take the inside, then you jump the start and get down in front of them. They're gonna race it out here as the green flag is back in the air. We are racing once again from iRacing Superspeedway. Good start for the inside lane. I believe the 3 of Jason's shoe wasn't able to catch up to the field. It's not what you want if you're the number 3. You see him back here just going into 1. I don't know that he's going to make it by the time these cars get up to speed. Single filed out here through the pack. So Adam Schramm starts second in second, drop all the way back to the back of the lead pack here. And Matt Cherry in the 54 is 1 lap down as well, just to update that situation. So Cherry is racing from 1 lap down. Of course, that's not going to stop him from pushing Jim Casterline up into the race lead. New race leader out of turn 4 is Jim Casterline, who's led a lot of laps here in the late goings of this one. You see the 32 sitting back behind them, though. He does not look content at all to run in line here, and he's got his teammates Sean Boundy and Adam Schramm right behind him here. Bounty, Schramm, Plute look up into the outside lane. Plute gonna duck back down, but the other 2 stay up in the outside lane, maybe trying to get something going here. Martin Plute drives right around him, though, and they're gonna fall back into the back of the pack, but gonna be able to build up a little momentum in the draft if they want it. Now Plute looks to go outside, but he ducks back down inside. And everyone's really trying to figure out what's going to get them to the front. They only have a few laps to figure it out, but right now they're just feeling out which line's faster. Can we get the outside lane going? Right now we haven't seen a successful push from the outside lane, except for Jim Casterline getting up into the lead. I assume that came from the high line. Through a block there on the 32 of Daniel Half. Half right on his bumper. Here comes Bounty in the outside line. Remember the 34 now back on the lead lap here. So Sean Bounty is racing for positions now with all these drivers except Matt Cherry. Again, that 3rd car on the inside lane. 1 lap down here. He is not racing for the win unless we get a caution and we have to go to a Beer Street Journal last call. Saw the 32. He's jumped up into the outside lane. He's got the 34 of Sean Bounty, his teammate, pushing. But again, they just weren't able to build up momentum, and they fell through the pack. 3 wide between the teammates as well here. I almost expect this is intentional by them. Now that I'm thinking about this more and more, they've gotten themselves lined back up here at the back of the field. They can lay off just a little bit and then just really put the gas on, use that draft to build up a run. They're not going to wait, though. They're going for it in turn number 1. 3 laps to go from iRacing Superspeedway. Jim Casterline still leads with Matt Cherry, who's been a great pusher all race long, except don't ask Martin Plute from an incident earlier in the race. Matt Cherry, though, trying to push Jim Casterline, but just cannot get to the bumper. The 34 and the 9 working really well together up top. The 32 as well. Daniel Half looks to the inside, but the other 2 able to cover it down as well. And your new race leader, the driver who is looking to go 3 for 3 on the season, Sean Boundy. He is going to lead coming to 2 laps to go. Adam Schramm, his teammate behind him. Jim Casterline now looks back up into the outside lane. 2 to go in the 5-Star Cut Superspeedway Series from iRacing Superspeedway. Casterline trying to get it going. Got a bit of a bad, I don't think it was a bad push, but Cherry behind him just kind of got out of line there a little bit. Down the back straightaway again, lap and a half to go. They're trying to build up speed. The 32, you see, he's fallen off from those front 2. That's really going to help the outside lane. Now the 34 has to block high. Unable to get in front of the momentum, though, and Jim Casterline back up into the race lead. Matt Cherry going to be able to follow him through. Martin Plute, though, going to get stuck out in no man's land in the outside lane. Coming to white flag, 1 lap to go at iRacing Superspeedway, and it's Jim Casterline going to lead him to the white flag. Matt Cherry, who is 1 lap down, I have to imagine he is going to push Casterline to the end. Being teammates, both Stay Tuned Sports on the car. Cherry 1 lap down, not racing for the win, not going to be racing for the win. You see the 34 Bounty looks back out into the outside lane. Casterline pushed by Cherry. Bounty pushed by Schramm. 2-car drag race down the back straightaway, and Bounty edges ahead midway down the back straightaway. Gonna try and get down to clear Casterline. Casterline looks low, didn't have it there though. I don't know what to make of that one, but Jim Casterline up the inside lane with help from Martin Plute. Down the front stretch, it's a drag race. Bounty, Casterline, Plute, who is going to get it at the line? It looks like Sean Bounty. It is, in fact, the 34 goes 3 for 3. Sean Bounty picks up a nail biter here at iRacing Superspeedway. 3 wide to the line for that 34 machine. So close. I'm going to wait for official results here from iRacing, and then I'll get you the gap at the line, and we'll go back and get a shot. Actually, see if we can find a good camera to get a picture at the line, because man, was that close. Let's find a good camera angle, production truck. Let's see here. Is this one gonna work? No, that's a terrible angle. Alright. We're figuring it out here. This'll be a good shot. Yeah, this is a good shot here. Coming to the line. This is gonna be a little too slow for us, actually. We'll put it in slow motion here. Coming toward the line. Look how close. Bounty gets the edge. As soon as Plute dropped off the bumper of the 18, there's sort of your finish. I missed it just a little bit. About half a car length is the margin of victory for Sean Bounty in the 34. Another great race for driver of the 34. 3 for 3 in the NSRA 5-Star Cut Superspeedway Series. That is a difficult feat to pull off. Looking back here at Watch him do some burnouts here. Little post-race celebration for Sean Bounty. I'm going to step away for just a second. Line up your post-race interviews. I'll be right back with you in just a moment here. All right, it is time for some post-race interviews here after iRacing Superspeedway. What a race it was. Going to start things off with Martin Plute coming home in third place, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. I mean, that was a great race you all put on there. Coming to the line. Couldn't have asked for much better than a 3-wide finish, except for maybe a 7-wide one. But I'll take what I can get up here in the booth. But, man, just take us through those last laps. You went from being a lap down earlier in the race all the way to a third-place finish. Almost won the thing, less than a car length away.
Yeah, the priority towards the end was getting Jim up there and just working together as a team because we were 3 against 3 at that point. So, not sure what happened at the last corner. Everybody got kind of jumbled up, and it looks like Sean got a pretty good run, got to Jim's corner, and in these cars you can just drag the person right back. So, so it sucks. It was a good finish, but I wish we could have gotten Jim the win there.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. He was 24 1/1000ths of a second short of the race win. I mean, you always expect those close margins of victory here on super speedways. This, I feel like, is the closest I've seen this season. But just take us through the race as a whole. We had 7 cars, but it seemed to me, looking up here, a lot of teammates playing together. I saw you guys in the Stay Tuned Sports channel. You guys really seem to work together a lot here in this race. I assume you all were communicating a lot about the moves you wanted to make.
Yeah, it was just about working together because those 3 guys and were working together pretty well. So it was trying to split them up and doing what we could to stay together and also split them up to where they couldn't get runs on us. So it's especially at iRacing Superspeedway with these cars, it's just trying to work together because these things act weird here. They act weird in general on plate tracks, but especially here, it's kind of weird still. So it was pretty funny to see Matt up on bottomed out though in the corner. That's a new one for these cars.
Yeah, and this is really a wild card, very difficult to prepare for. Are you a little upset to go back to Talladega next week, or are you a little bit ready to go back to a little bit more of the normal racetracks we usually see?
Yeah, I like the normal ones. These are fun. I like iRacing Superspeedway. I like Monza. I've won it both, so I like them, but they're not as good as the regular tracks in my opinion. So I'm excited to go back to Talladega.
Well, you'll get to next week right here on 10-4 Broadcasting. Same time, same place for all those viewers out watching in the chat. Before I let you go, Martin, any shout-outs you want to give while we've got you here in the booth?
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for broadcasting. Max Graphics for the nice paint scheme. 5-Star Cuts for sponsoring the series. It's always it's small fields right now, but it's pretty fun still. So it's a good time out here.
Yeah, and thank you for stopping by and chatting with me here in the post race. Congratulations on a great run. Like I said, up and down for you here, but you pulled out a good points day in third place, and hopefully you see you do the same again next week at Talladega.
Yep. See you next week.
And that was Martin Plute, driver of the number 4 machine, going to come home in third place here tonight. Second place, though, is Jimbo Casterline, man. You came so close. I thought you had him here tonight.
Yeah, man. I looked at how much I lost by or didn't come in the first by. Man, that sucks.
Yeah, it's always not fun to come in second, but I think it was 24 1,000ths, I think was the number I read off here in the scoring. It doesn't get much tighter than that.
Yeah, I mean, thanks to Matt, Cherry, and Martin for helping me try to get up there. Like I said, coming out turn 4 there, I thought I had it. Saw him coming up, and I was like, maybe I'll try to squeeze him a little bit to the wall, and I thought he would back out, but good win for Shane.
Yeah, and I told Martin, too, I saw a lot of great teamwork coming from you Stay Tuned Sports drivers. They really did a good job, and you had Matt Cherry pushing you all the way through at the end. Just how important is that teamwork here in these races to get up and almost win races, or hopefully to get to victory lane?
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's obviously really important. I mean, I don't know if you saw about halfway through a race there. I don't know what happened with me, but I just lost the draft and fell far, far back. Luckily, got a caution to come out, but once I lost the draft from Matt and Martin, that was it for a while there.
Yeah, and I saw the draft really important here. How hard is it to keep that draft as well in these next gens? I don't have a ton of experience, but we saw a lot of drivers here at one time or another kind of lose the draft and had to catch cautions to get caught back up.
I mean, it kind of depends. I mean, I raced Monday night and was able to catch back up within 2-3 laps, being like a second or two behind. But like I said, tonight, that one time, it took literally 15 seconds and they were gone. There was no me catching up to them.
And well, still second place here tonight. You had something figured out here. A lot of momentum going into your favor. Next week's Talladega, do we think... How do you feel about Talladega, I guess? Are we going to see you there next week, too?
I mean, with me being, a newbie or whatever, every time I hear Dega, I think of Daytona, so hopefully me, Matt, and Martin could get it going again, pick up the momentum where we, left off tonight.
Yeah, and again, certainly a great run. Good momentum moving forward. And before I let you go, do you have any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, I want to give you guys a shout out for broadcasting this, NSRA running the series. Like I said, I want to thank Matt and Martin for trying to get my first win by pushing me there. Give a shout out to my wife, who I'm not sure if she was watching. I know she was working, and my oldest son, who's into watching this too. I want to say hi to him too.
Well, thank you for, again, stopping by and talking with me. Congratulations on the second place finish, and we'll be watching you to try and get one more next week at Talladega.
All right, thanks, Mitchell. See you later, buddy.
That was Jimbo Casterline, Mr. Stay Tuned Sports, coming home second place. Again, 24 1,000ths of a second short of your race winner, who is Sean Boundy, who goes 3 for 3 here tonight at iRacing Superspeedway. What is it about these Superspeedways? They can't beat you, man.
Experience, I guess. I got tens of thousands of laps of races in iRacing. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. A little bit of intuition and a lot of luck.
I'd say that golden horseshoe you've got really working for you here. I said earlier in the race, it's hard to win 3 races in a row in any kind of racing, but I think that's the most difficult to do on a super speedway, just because everybody here's got a shot to win, but you've got something figured out. And just this track in particular, how different, I guess, is what I want to ask. How different's the style here versus at the other tracks we go to? Because this is a really unique racetrack.
Once you have the draft package figured out, there's really not much to change. It's a little bit of timing. You got longer straightaways, so you come off turn 2, and if you really want to run to the finish, like the other guys were in that group, I think they made their play about 3/4 of a lap too early, and that allowed me to get about third in line, and that was kind of where I wanted to be coming to the finish. The couple of guys that I was working with had a little bit of trouble getting through the corners in the second lane, so every time I made a run up there, I'd kind of lose my drafting buddy and kind of had to fall back in line and regroup again. That was just one thing, but the other thing, and I alluded to it at the end of the last race about this track, is you really have to turn into the corner before you get to it and before you see it, but in order to not drift way up the track into the next lane. And if you do it a little too soon, you go straight down the apron, and that's where some of the wrecks were. But otherwise, once you have the drafting package itself figured out, it's all the same, really.
Yeah, and I talked to the other two. I'll talk to you as well, because you mentioned teamwork and having people to draft with here tonight. I saw I believe you all are a team up there in the Rebel Racing voice chat.
Yeah.
You three worked together very well here tonight, but you got separated with them at the end, and it was really you versus the 18, and I think it was the 4 of Martin Plute down there in the inside line. Did you think they were going to beat you coming to the line? Do you think you had a shot in that drag race?
Yeah, we came up to turn 3, and I could see my partners dropping back, and they had lost a lot of momentum. And I made a block here and there, not to stop them, but maybe just kind of build a little bit of air cushion to slow them down a little bit. I knew I was going to get past, but to be honest, there is absolutely no reason I should have won that race. Between 3 and 4, closer to 4, my momentum wasn't falling off as much as I thought it would. And as soon as we got to the straightaway, I started pulling forward again, and they were together in my blind spot, so I couldn't see what happened, but I knew something happened. My only thought was maybe they were trying to duke it out for the win and thought they had momentum and overestimated. But I haven't gone back to see what it was. But for some reason they stalled out, and if they were just smooth and committed, there's no reason I should have won the race by myself on the outside.
Other than the golden horseshoe you keep in the car with you every race. Well, again, 3 for 3.
You do what you can. You make the best move you possibly can in the position that you're in, and just knowing what that move is. And there's the skill of knowing the move, but again, half of that still comes down to luck. And like I said, I didn't have anybody to go with me up to the high side, but it was the only play that I had. And then the rest came down to, luckily, they didn't stay together.
Yeah, you pulled out 3 in a row. I think it's crazy that I'm about to ask you about 4 in a row, but next week is Talladega. It's the only track we haven't been to, unless you don't count Daytona and the bumpy Daytona as the same track. But Talladega, the only one we haven't been to yet this season.
Hang on a second. Sorry, you're breaking up there.
I am okay. So, Talladega next week. It's the only track we have yet to go to this season. How do you feel about Talladega, and do you think we could see the 4-peat from you on next week?
I think I'm having some communication issues. You broke up real bad there.
So we're gonna do the high tech thing, and I'm gonna DM you a question, and either way, you're going to answer it. But it's Talladega next week, if you can hear me this time. Hopefully it's better. Do you think we could see 4 wins in a row from you next week at Talladega? All right, that is going to do it for our post-race interviews here at iRacing Superspeedway. And what a race it was. Sorry about a little technical difficulties here. Actually, I think we've got things sorted out. I'm going to bring back in Sean Boundy. Can you hear me now? Sean, this is Mitchell in the 10-4 booth. You got a copy? Try this again. Sean Boundy, Mitchell Adams in the 10-4 broadcast booth. Can you hear me? I think we are having some communications issues here. Something with the internet. I don't know if it's my end or his end or Discord's end. Or it's somebody's end here. We're having some issues here tonight, but I'll make sure to go back to him next week and get this interview. Let him give some shout outs here next week as well. So those are very important here. But again, let's take a look through the finishing order from tonight's race here from iRacing Superspeedway. My scoring is all wrong here. Let's pull up another screen. Here we go. This is the final results from tonight's race. It was Sean Boundy picking up the race win in that 34 machine. Jim Casterline comes home second place, and third was Martin Plute. We talked with all three of those drivers, excuse me. There's Daniel Half finishing in fourth. Adam Schramm comes home in the fifth position. Jason Shue brings it home sixth. Then Matt Cherry rounding out the 7-car field in the seventh place position. And it was a great race for all involved here tonight. A good show for us as well from iRacing Superspeedway. Again, I'm very glad you all tuned in to watch this race. Again, next week on 10-4 Broadcasting, the 5-Star Cuts Superspeedway Series National Sim Racing Association action returns at Talladega. If you want to see more National Sim Racing Association racing, they have 2 more series that run this week. Thursday night, the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series over at our friends on the World Racing Network. That series goes to New Atlanta, the new one where they're going to be basically restrictor plate racing around the track. So if you like this, that's a great race for you. And then one I'm also excited for, the Friday night NSRA Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series, headed for the Daytona Road Course. That is going to be a great race for us. Again, That one will be over at 3 Wide TV on Friday nights. Our friends at 3 Wide TV always put on a great broadcast as well. And then again, we're back with Talladega next Wednesday night, and we'll be back with NSRA races Wednesday nights for the foreseeable future. So I hope you all enjoy this one and want to tune in again. Of course, we got to thank all the sponsors of the National Sim Racing Association and the 5-Star Cuts Super Speedway Series. Of course, 5-Star Cuts. We can't shout out sponsors without thanking the title sponsor of the series, 5-Star Cuts, as well as all the other sponsors of the National Sim Racing Association. Beer Street Journal, Max Graphics, Stay Tuned Sports, Simbox, Brookstone Animal Hospital, Taz Racing Customs, J&R Craftworks, and Eclipse Photography all support the National Sim Racing Association. Big thank you to all of them for making Wednesday night racing possible here on 10-4 Broadcasting. But until next week, at the same time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, right here on 10-4 Broadcasting. For all of us at 10-4 Broadcasting, I'm Mitchell Adams, and I want to thank you for tuning in. Hope you all stay safe, enjoy yourselves, and I will see you next week.